channel Speech Express. Well, my name is Digambar Chaudhary, and today in this discussion, I have with me as my chief guest Mr. Salim Idrisi. Hi, Mr. Salim Idrisi.
Hi, how are you?
I'm good. What about you?
I'm good too.
So, Mr. Salim Idrisi would be talking about the topic today. We would be talking about is the education system of India. So there are certain loopholes in this education system. There are certain changes which should be made in order to bring it as a visible to the common people. So there are certain things we would be discussing through this discussion and through this talk show. So guys, just keep watching this YouTube channel. Now let me discuss about the education system of India. As we see, there are many more institutions, whether the institutions are private or these are government. The education has nowadays become a business. Private institutions are charging a very high amount of fees, and which is not quite affordable for the common people. Common people can really very hardly think of sending their children to these institutions, which are very costly in terms of fee structure and all. So education nowadays, not only in India, in all in across the globe, has become a kind of that particular dominant thing which we require, but which is not visible to us. So how can we make visible to the common people? So let me just go to the to Mr. Salim Idrisi for this answer. Mr. Idrisi, as we see in India, there are multiple institutions. Few of institutions are government, and some of the institutions are private as well, right? But nowadays, education has become a kind of business, right? The more you spend, the more you can learn, correct? So this is the funda nowadays going on in our country. So how can we remove this kind of funda and bring this education? That, like, this is our slogan. Our government says like education for all, right?
Right.
Sarv Shiksha Abhiyan in Hindi we say. So how can we bring this education equally for all people? Because there are certain people who are living in villages or in remote areas. They are not rich, right? They cannot afford this much of education. They cannot afford sending their child to the private institutions. So how we can make it visible to these common people?
Well, India is a developing country, and in developing countries, we have to focus on education system. The education system in India is, in last one decade, has done not a great thing, but we have to improve a lot, because if we talk about China, Japan, they are they are the countries, and they are the competitors of our country. So they are focusing on education system a lot. It is true that we have done tremendous things in education, but we have to work a lot, because education is a backbone. So I believe that we have to focus, and we have to learn from rest of the world, because India is a developing country, and without education we cannot improve. We have to if we want to see ourselves in the list of developed countries, so we have to understand the fact that we need to bring our level up to the standard, so that we can be recognized in the world.
Correct. So, as per Mr. Idrisi, like education is the only weapon which can change the world. If we wish to bring about certain changes in the world, we have to bring certain changes in the education system of that particular nation. Very well said. But actually, you mentioned like about Japan and China. These two countries are basically the competitor of India. I totally agree with you in terms of China. Like China is our competitor because China has even more population what we have nowadays in our country. But Japan, if we compare ourselves with Japan, Japan is not in a developing stage. Japan has already developed a lot. Japan is a developed country. But China is again in a transitional stage like India right now, because these are four big countries basically: Brazil, India, China, and Russia. These are four BRIC countries which are under transitional stage. Neither these are developed nor these are underdeveloped, right? So these are in the transitional, middle level. So now, once we talk about the education system, because there are a lot of differences in our country, as you must know that. Whether it comes to in terms of religion, or it comes to in terms of status, or it comes to in the people are living in remote areas, or in semi-urban areas, or in urban areas, or in metropolitan cities. Correct. So there are a lot of differences. There are a lot of differences, obviously, like economy wise. In economical conditions, few people are obviously residing under which I can say, like, they are just living their life for the survival, right? They cannot afford that much of amount which now private institutions are charging. Correct. So how can we make this education system feasible for all? As this is our slogan, the slogan of our government. For many past days, government is trying to bring this education for all. But again, this is not getting success, just because of our administrations are not supporting to this government. Even you people, as a responsible person, responsible citizen of this country, are not supporting to the government, right? So what kind of changes our government has to make, what kind of policies government has to make, and what kind of responsibilities we have to shoulder as a common person, common man, in order to bring these changes, or in order to bring this education system equally for all.
Well, I believe that this is the duty of the government bodies to enroll such rules in the country, wherein every institute should come on the same platform. Unless you will not do that, I don't think the system is going to change. So, if we want to make a positive change in the society in terms of maintaining this education system, we have to bring all the institute on the same platform, and this is very easy for the government. It's not like a tough job, but somebody has to take an initiative. So, if the if everybody will come on the same platform, and it will no longer be a business, like education in India is like a business nowadays.
So
If you
what do you mean by somebody? Somebody, that means government only, right? Government is ruling this country, so government should take that initiative first. Government should make that kind of policies which can be beneficial for these common people, right? Government should impose those policies, right, strictly, so that it can reach to the common people. I have studied in my, once I was in a masters of mass communication in 2011. I was studying a particular theory which was trickle down effect theory. Let me tell you about that. Trickle down effect theory means whatever policies are being made by our legislature or by parliament, which are being imposed on the common people. Once these policies are imposed, there are lot of government bodies, lot of administrative bodies are included in this, are involved in this. Like, first government is passing those particular policies, parliament is passing that, and after that it is going to the execution. Then execution is just executing those policies, implementing those policies over the society. Now there are many IAS officers involved in this process, right? Because district collector is just heading that particular district. Now it is going to the tehsil level, then it's going to the block level, then it's going to the village level. Clear? So there are many more leaders which are involved in this process. So now, once the thing which was implemented 100% at that upper level, at the ground level, it reaches only 25%. Do you agree with this statement or not?
Yeah, that's very true.
Yes.
I believe.
So how can we remove this kind of differences? Now, how can we 100% get the result from a particular policy which we implement, and at the ground level, this has a 100% result? And there are a lot of corruption as well. Like, you must have understood these particular things. Like, there is a corruption as well. Like, many people, many lucrative leaders are corrupt. They basically spread corruptions in this education system as well. They are just money minded people, right? So how can we avoid these kind of normal things which are happening? And these are not normal, I would say. These are very wrong things, wrongdoings, right? Because of some greedy people or some corrupt people which are involved in this system. So these are my basically 2 points. One point is, let's remove the difference, okay? And second is, how can we remove this corruption from this process?
We need to learn from developed countries that they are giving lot of importance to the education system. So we need to see the history of the world, and particularly countries who have already uh, developed, and they have achieved tremendously in the education system. So we need to learn from them. We have to follow the strategy. There should be standard operating procedures. So we need to follow those, and that is the duty of the government and the government bodies. They have to follow certain rules and regulations. Standard operating procedures should be there. So that's supposed to be done.
All right. Perfect. So there are certain changes which need to be done in this education system to bring about the equal right for everybody. Right. There are certain things as well, like Mr. Idrisi, things are happening. We see laughing faces do not mean that. This is a quite old saying, like the things which we perceive, which are not actually, right? This also happens. Whatever things we see, whatever things we notice, which are actually not, right? So, like we see, like we can give the example of America, the education system of America, the education system of Great Britain, education system of Germany, education system of France, right? These are the most powerful countries, or which I would say developed countries, right? They have very high per capita income, and their GDP rate is also quite high, and they have less population in terms of, once we talk about China and India. These are two countries basically with the very dense population, and very what I would say large amount of population is residing here in these two countries. So, and even though in this statement as well, like we are in developing phase, right? Now the thing is basically the education should be changed in that way, or education should be meant in that way people can learn, and that learning can help them achieving their targets, or achieving their goals, or achieving their milestones, or to like maintain their livelihood. But how? There are certain things like till the 12th standard, or till 10th standard, or even people sometimes they are graduate, or they are postgraduate, they are not even getting the job at fourth class category job. You understand that? And there is a huge difference in between the job which are paying in private sectors, and the job which are paying in government sectors. So how can we remove these differences? This is again my next question for you.
Yeah, certainly. First of all, there are certain institutes. What they do, they provide some courses. Okay, they make lot of money, but in future, such people don't get jobs. So I believe that if some job is being enrolled in the society, like suppose MBA, there was a great relevance of MBA earlier, but now people don't prefer to have MBA. Why? Because there could be certain reason. So if we have to maintain the standard of MBA. Okay.
Even nowadays, we see many people who are BTech holder, bachelor in technology, like BTech in CS, computer science, BTech in mechanical, BTech in electronics and communication. These people are even do not have the kind of relevance, right? They are holding the degrees, and they are I believe so. I would not say wasting their time, but yes, they have the 4 years completely the program. They have attended the regular classes, even, and they are not able to crack the interviews. Even they are not able to get the 15,000 or 20,000 job per month job, right? Why these people are not falling in this category? So what are the loopholes in this education system? Even the BTech holders, even the people who are graduate or postgraduate, are not able to get that 15,000 of job. Why?
Because of population is a concern basically, and people are not getting jobs because there are not too many jobs in the society. So we have to create job availability first of all. what happened over here, people are going for they enroll for the particular, what do you call it, like they apply for the courses,
Courses, programs.
yeah, programs and
Right.
courses,
Yes.
but they don't see that is it going to benefit them in future, are they going to get help, are they going to get jobs in future. They just what media is doing, they just make videos.
No, that is, I believe,
Prospectus.
yes, I believe this is the problem of like ignorance. People, they do not have the kind of enlightenment. They do not have the proper guidance, right? They do not have somebody who can guide them. They are in that illusion, like if that person is doing this, okay, I can also do this, right? And the person does not even understand the skill set, whatever the kind of skill set that person has. Even if Salim is doing this task, okay, Digambar can also do this task. So Digambar is just going behind Salim, right? Digambar doesn't know, Digambar doesn't believe in his skills. So we have to first try to identify our skills, right? The kind of skill set we have. Either we have the skill set of which we can be technically very good, or we can be very good in the language wise. We do not understand this fact. And without understanding this fact, we go in the ignorance. The kind of bhed chal we say in Hindi.
Yes.
In India, bhed chal, right? One bhed is going there, another bhed is also going in that line, right? So we have to remove these kind of differences, or we have to, like, eliminate this kind of fact or this kind of statement which is coming. So now, you just let me know. There are certain vocational program. Instead of focusing on this type of education, like simply graduation, simply post graduation, right? Simply doctorate, simply MPhil. No, I do not go with this. We have to focus on the vocational program. Getting my point? Which are job oriented, right? We can create job. Government can bring the investment from the foreign countries at the international level, just promoting their infrastructure. Like we have this much of infrastructure in our country, you just come and see and come and invest here in our country. So we can create jobs. But for creating those jobs, we have the manpower as well, right? Because we have a large amount of population residing in India. But we have to educate those people in that way or in such a way so that they can be able to grasp the job opportunities and they can be able to deliver the task. Whether once they are able to deliver the task, then client would be more than happy and they would be more than happy to pay them, right? And obviously, once one client is happy, then another client will come definitely, right? So, what do you have to say about this?
Well, I think clients should be very much aware about the fact that whatever programs they are enrolling in the institutes should have job opportunities in the market. If suppose they are providing some in the prospectus they have made some, what do you call it, like
Mm-hmm. Like the kind of things, see, if client, we have to focus on those clients, we have to focus on those countries, we have to bring about those changes, we have to promote our culture, we have to promote our the kind of infrastructure we have, then only client will come. Let me give you the example, the recent example. Earlier in 2000, just 20 years back, the BPO industry came in India, right? And BPO industry started, and client came to India. They invested the amount and they outsourced the business to Indian companies, correct? And there were many people like me, you, and more than us, right? They were just finding their job and they were able to deliver the task. Suddenly, after 10 years or 7 to 8 years, Philippines took over that business. Why? So complete voice processes were just shifted to Philippines. This drastic change came, right? And just because of this, many people, many people were jobless. Many people were there on the roads. They had their resumes in their hands, and nobody was considering their resumes, right? Because there were no jobs at that time. Jobs were limited, but people were more, right? Applicants were more. And that time I cannot forget. This was the time of we used to say recession in 2007 or 8, not 7, 8 or 9. right? These 2 years of recession. So, what you have to say about this? Because this suddenly came. Why those voice processes got shifted to Philippines, not to India?
Well, I believe these processes were shifted to Philippines because they were getting good job from there, and people are working in less salaries and wages. So in India, they have to spend a lot. So in half of the money, they can make a complete package. So I believe that they shifted the so that if they have some of the processes running in India, they have to put some processes running in Philippines and other countries as well.
This happened because they got the right opportunity, the right option, right? In India, they were once they had their options in India, they were looking at some other options. So they got the competitor for India, Philippines. Then they shifted their few processes, few completely voice campaigns to Philippines, and Philippines became their first priority. After them, Philippines became their first priority, and as I know, and I have studied in my books as well, I have also heard from the people, from the experts. They say Indian once speak, they can speak very good English. After the native speakers, Indian come in the picture second, right? Who can deliver the task and who can imitate those people. They can deliver excellent productivity, right? In terms of jobs or in terms of business or anything. But again, and these voice processes got shifted to the Philippines. This was very much what I would say drawback to India, right? Very, which I would say like jerk in the field of job opportunities or the getting jobs and all. This happens. Now, I see after 20 years or 22 years, like again in 2019, COVID came and COVID hampered those opportunities, right? Because all the institutions and all the companies, MNCs got shut down. Their production was shut down at that time, 2 years, entire 2 years. And few of the companies, MNCs, they allowed their employees to do work from home, right? Uh, but they reduced their headcount. They reduced their headcount, and just suppose 100 people were working in any MNC, they fired around 30 people. 30 people got fired, and 70 people remained. Out of 70, few companies gave 100% work from home, and few companies just few employees around 10% to 15% remained in the office, and rest of them got work from home. So this happened. This hampered the kind of smoothness which was going on in this opportunities and all. Now, my question is, like there are many institutions which we can see in Delhi NCR and metropolitan city which are running the vocational program. Like there are many institutions, like IGNU is doing that, and there are certain business institutions which are also doing that. But why not all the institutes? Why not all the colleges and schools are running such a kind of programs which can be beneficial in terms of getting jobs easily for the people?
Well, education is very expensive. This is the reason I believe. Because if somebody is enrolling in for some
Yes, let me give you an example. Like education has become too much costly. See, why we people are going to Ukraine? Earlier we used to go to Ukraine for the medical degree, right? To become an MBBS doctor or to do any medical, to attain a medical education. We used to go to Ukraine because in Ukraine, once we invest 20 lakh rupees or 25 lakh rupees, we can become MBBS. And the same kind of degree getting here in India, we have to spend around a crore rupees or 60 lakh or 70 lakh, something like that, right? In India. But now in Ukraine, same kind of degree we are getting and just investing in 20 lakh rupees or 20 to 25 lakh, right? This happens. So this is again the kind of less infrastructure, which I would say, the lack of infrastructure, the lack of required faculty. Required faculty is not there because brain drain is very high in India. Once we talk about brain drain, this is a new concept for the people who doesn't know, who don't know this. Let me just tell you, brain drain is something like we have the skill set, we have those people who are very skilled, and now once they acquire certain skills from this country, and they are getting good number of jobs from the other countries, then they are moving there just because of the better lifestyle, better living standard, and better opportunities and the high pay scale. Just they are going and they are moving to the abroad. So they are working for those nations. Why? Just because of their high lifestyle and high payment, right? But what if they got the skills from this country? What have they given to this country? This is called brain drain, right? So we are not able to control our skill set to this country so that that skill set can generate few things, right? So this is kind of the problem which is happening in our country. How we can remove it, or how can we just eliminate this kind of concept which is coming?
I think we should create some institute which should be created from the government bodies in our country itself, and the government body should take care of the institutes, and they should be job oriented as well, and career oriented. So I think the other countries which are making it successful, our country also can make it successful.
Obviously, government should put a kind of restrictions for those who are acquiring their skills from here in India. Our government is investing the amount just on their education, and once they are educated, they are going abroad. So they could not move to abroad, right? Just because of some government should have imposed some kind of restrictions on them, right? If you are getting the education from this country, then obviously you have to remain, like you have to do service 5 years or 7 years or 8 years, then only you can move to the different countries, right? That should be become mandatory for all. This can control this. So now I believe we have talked about all these things, and which were required to be discussed in this discussion, and this is all for the day. Thank you so much for watching, and thank you so much, Mr. Idrishi,
Thank you so
for your
much.
great cooperation with me.
You're welcome.
And it was a great discussion, guys. I enjoyed a lot, and hope you have also enjoyed a lot watching this video, and hope this video would bring certain enlightenment in you and would give you enough knowledge about your learning. Thank you so much for watching. Have a great day ahead.